April 3rd, 1974. Brandenburg, Kentucky is in ruins after an F5 tornado strike. Nearly 45 miles away, in Louisville, National Weather Service meteorologist David Reeves couldn't see the tornado on his radar. But he knows from radio reports that storms are headed his way.
Our little radar was showing that this spot had passed over Brandenburg and was headed directly toward Louisville. And we put out a warning for Louisville.
This is Dave Reeves of the National Weather Service.
Well, we do have a pretty wild and rugged weather picture on our hands here.
That afternoon in Louisville, traffic reporter Dick Gilbert is in the sky covering the daily traffic for WHAS radio.
So be prepared for it as you're driving.
Gilbert, a former Air Force pilot, also flies the helicopter.
My dad was the only person who could see what was really going on at that point.
Every day, he checks on his 14-year-old daughter, Candace. Gilbert, a widower, uses his chopper to make sure she's safe at home after school.
He would fly over the house, and the routine was that I would have to run out in the front yard and wave to him and let him know that I was okay.
But this day is far from routine. The sky has turned pitch black when Candace sees her dad flying overhead.
He was only about maybe 100 feet off the ground. And with the clear bubble of the helicopter, I could see him very clearly. And I could see him say, "Get in the basement." And he's making violent circular motions with his hands.
Candace heads underground as her father flies back toward the city. 4:37 p.m.
It is swirling around.
Gilbert spots a funnel forming above Louisville.
It looks like smoke underneath it. There is no real tight, definitive tornado as such. It's still turning in a large... Yes, there's one now. Started, yes, dipping down from the bottom of the cloud.
Because of Gilbert's broadcast, thousands of listeners take shelter. Forecasters on the ground in Louisville are stymied by their incomplete radar picture. But from his vantage point in the sky, Gilbert can report a blow-by-blow of the tornado's path. WHAS TV and radio use Gilbert's area warning to alert people to take shelter.
He was telling you where it is at this moment and where it looks like it's headed. We put the bulletin out that a tornado had touched ground.
A funnel cloud has been sighted moving northeast from McNeely Lake. Please be on guard in those areas and, if necessary, take a place of safety.
The Louisville tornado touches down at Standiford Airport, home to an office of the National Weather Service. Meteorologist John Burke is standing in front of the window and goes live on WHAS radio as the tornado approaches.
Yeah, but here comes the wind. We're hitting winds up the... Good gracious sakes alive.
How high is the wind speed at this time?
There's 50 right there. By golly, the whole thing is going, hit, I'm going, good.
Burke quickly backs away from the window. Dick Gilbert continues to track the tornado from the air as it pounds Louisville.
He had a line that nearly everyone who remembers that day will repeat to me.
Now, if I'm right over the fairgrounds, the horse barns are no more. It totally wiped out the horse barns.
The tornado then heads straight for northeast Louisville. Teenagers Valerie and Jeff Underhill have just arrived home from school.
We had a golden retriever who was very active and always anxious to get outside. I remember that day in hindsight that he came out on the back stoop, sniffed around, and wanted to go right back inside.
The winds begin to pick up as Jeff heads inside with his dog. The teenager doesn't think much about the dog's strange behavior. His parents are at work in downtown Louisville when they find out a tornado is headed straight for their neighborhood. They immediately call home to warn their children.
I said, you all should get to the basement.
Underhill and his wife race home to be with their children.
We turned on the radio as we were driving home and actually listened to Mr. Gilbert broadcast how he was following the tornado in a helicopter.
I heard my sister yelp from out in the kitchen, and I ran out to see what it was. She said, quickly look out the kitchen window. We couldn't see a funnel. We just saw the black mass moving in our direction and things flying across the backyard.
Valerie and Jeff grabbed the family dog and run to their basement.
We went over underneath the pinball machine, and literally within a moment after crouching down in that area, it got very loud above us. We thought the house was going to come crashing down on us. I can remember my sister and I hugging each other, holding onto the dog at the same time as tightly as we could, and literally the fear that this is the end.
When George and Ann Underhill arrive home, they find their streets blocked off by debris, their neighborhood destroyed.
We were in total panic because they had told us that there's no way anybody could have lived.
On a street corner near their home, the Underhills find Valerie and Jeff, shaken but safe. Their house is decimated.
The only thing left standing intact was one bathroom in the center of the first floor.
It's very emotional at times when I even think about it, to realize how close we had come to losing our children.
900 buildings in Louisville are damaged beyond repair from the tornado that was on the ground for more than 20 minutes. More than 200 residents are injured by the F4 tornado. Incredibly, only 2 people die. Many credit Dick Gilbert's live reports for saving so many lives.
Be very, very careful. Dick Gilbert, Skywatch 84.
The rest of Kentucky will not get the benefit of Gilbert's aerial broadcast.
We had no idea that it was as widespread as it was. They just kept going, kept going.
Just minutes after the Louisville strike, yet another destructive tornado will form over the town of Xenia, Ohio. The town will have little warning.